years. It was different. I always kind of said that powerlifting was like the truck drivers of the like the weightlifting, because they lay back, they kind of just do whatever. But it was fun. I think that's what made the transition from that to bodybuilding easier for me, because I've only been bodybuilding since 2022. Um, the Masters that I did was my third bodybuilding show. And so like people think I've been doing it for years. I'm not. I just tell people I've been bulking for almost 10 years. Powerlifting, I was pretty big. I'm only 5'4.5", and the heaviest I got was 198 pounds. So I was pretty big. But yeah, that's why I think the transition was so easy for me, because I just shed all that weight and I had all that muscle from all the compound lifts I was doing and stuff. So yeah, I will always thank powerlifting for that too. I think the best way, if people want to start bodybuilding, is you can start bodybuilding, but it's going to take you a long time. I mean, in general, it takes you a long time just to improve on the physique and stuff. But I always advise people that are beginners to try and get in a strength sport first, like strongman or powerlifting, because you need to build size and muscle. So, and strength training is really important with that. But yeah, like I said, in 2022, I switched over, and I never looked back. I really like it. I feel like I've accomplished a little bit more in bodybuilding, because in powerlifting, I don't know if you follow it or not. It's gotten really popular. When I started, it was kind of popular, but I think it started in like 2014, 2015, and like people were getting to know about it. But it's like with women, it's like pretty big. Like there's some really strong ladies out there right now. So it was really competitive. I tried for a long time in Michigan. That's where I'm from originally. I got to get on a national level, and I got like the best state record for a couple of things, but I never really took it to the point like how we have the Olympia. Like there, it's like it used to be the Kern back then is what the meets used to be called, or what's the other one? It's changed so much now. The federations, they've just changed so much. So I tried to take it that far, but I just kind of, I don't know. It just, I did it for a while, and I got where I wanted to go with it, and I wanted something different, like more challenging. I always like challenging stuff. I kind of get bored kind of easy. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but yeah, that's all I could say about my lifting stuff.
Well, that's pretty interesting because I don't follow powerlifting that much, but I remember I used to watch the strongman competitions. Used to come on like ESPN and ABC and EBC. Those guys were a different level, you know. I recently just interviewed like a week ago a young lady who's from Australia who's a power lifter, and now she's also considering making the transition to bodybuilding. And there's quite a few ladies who started out as in powerlifting, and some still compete in powerlifting. There's one lady who, when I post this picture, she really has a good response about you, and that is the current #2 in the world in women's bodybuilding, 2024 Rising Phoenix champion, Angela Yo. And I mean, just you and her. And she also still does powerlifting because I know she was at the Arnold weekend just a month ago.
Yeah, I remember when I first met Ange. You know, it's funny. I was pro and she was amateur powerlifting, right? So we had the same singlet. And she came up to me and she's like, "Oh, you got it was a Cthulhu singlet, by a guy that owns a merch company called Lift Evil." And yeah, she was so sweet. I think it's so crazy because in that picture I'm bigger than her. Now she's bigger than me. Isn't that crazy how that switched? Because like I said, I was pretty big then. I was, God, I mean, I was just, you kind of had to be for the amount of weight that I was trying to accomplish. But yeah, she did talk to me the other day about that. I think that's really funny. No, she's great. I know her style of lifting, even for bodybuilding, she really likes powerlifting, and she does that a lot. I think that's why she's able to have such an impressive, like that dense muscle physique that she has. But yeah, there's another lady, Hunter Henderson. I'm sure you've heard her.
Yeah,
She's
yeah, I
like
know.
a world champion power lifter. Like she's made many records. There's another lady too. I think her name is Brianna, or she dates Joe Sullivan.
Oh,
She,
Brianna, I think, is it Tenny? Or is it uh Terry? Brianna Terry?
I think so. She lives
Yeah,
in Vegas. She's really good friends with Hunter.
yeah,
She also dates her boyfriend's Joe Sullivan, who's doing his first bodybuilding show in like 4 weeks. I see a lot of powerlifters right now just transitioning to bodybuilding, which I think is really great. Especially because of, you hear the things about, well, more for women, so not so much for men, but like how like the bigger muscular categories are just not as popular anymore. And I
yeah,
think that's really great that a lot of the ladies are thinking, I hope more of them do that, because like we need it. There's just not that many competitors, and that's from figure up. That's not just bodybuilding, that's in physique and in figure. um I know when I did the California States physique, I was the only physique competitor.
hmm
Like,
yeah, yeah. Because we just recently there was for women's bodybuilding, there's awesome shows. But just shout out to a guy who just recently posted that he's him and Alina Popa. That's a guy who I'm a fan of. I was kind of mad at him because what's going on, but I got to do this because now he's doing some good work again. Yo, Jake, I want that money. I want that gun. Mr. Jake Wood. Jake, I had to do it for you, brother. I mean, I owe you that. And yeah, it's just like if you look at even at shows like the All the Classic back in the day, it had those divisions like figure, physique, and women's bodybuilding. And almost not a big fan of y'all ladies, particularly of the more dense muscle level. He still has fitness, but I think once the new fit model division comes in, there's a possibility it might get pushed out because there's not as many competitors compared to the others.
yeah, I agree with that. It's I was like looking at the history of like women's bodybuilding, right? Because it used to be just bodybuilding. There used to not be all these divisions, right? I think we have like 7 different ones now with the fit model. Is it 7?
Yes, 7.
So I really like that there's different divisions, because everybody has a goal in mind and a physique, and some people just can't genetically get to the size or whatever shape that they want, right? Like I could never be a bikini competitor. I think I'd be close to death. I mean, I have a medium large bone structure. I've always been like a thicker person, so like it would be really hard for me to get like that small. But I just like the variety of it all. It's there's like more depth into it, I guess. Um, but that being said, it I'm hoping some people, because they add the fit model, because fit model is supposed to be what bikini originally was, right? Because you see all these other different divisions, everybody's it's like evolving in a way. Like I remember bikini ladies, they never had cap shoulders, they never had abs. Like now they do. I mean, I think they look great. I appreciate again all the divisions, but they look different now. They don't look the same as what I remember. Like even God, I know bikini's really not that old of a division either. I think it came out in, is it 2009 or something like that? I
I
have to
think
look.
it was. I think around maybe like that time, 2009, 2006, because at the time there was just when you started women's bodybuilding, then fitness and figure came along, and they wanted a division that's very more a nice look to it, feminine look to it, and they just and this is why I call bikini. No offense to the competitors, I call it invasive species. It was not. It didn't involve like the other divisions. It was brought in from like you look at companies like Bikini Tropic and Hooters. You go to the shows they used to have bikini, and then I think over the years, it has evolved with the sport as it's grown. You look at figure, you look at physique, you look at bikini, you even look at wellness. Like anything, it's the evolution of the athletes.
And that's going to happen too, because with the internet and like modern medicine and all that stuff, we have more information, you just get better. Like again, going back to powerlifting, when I started powerlifting, it was all about being big, not like cut up. Like you just get big. The bigger you are, the more weight you can do. Now that is completely changing. Even in strongman, it's changing. Like people are getting in better shape. Like they're not getting, it's not about just get as big as you can anymore. It's about people are thinking about more about longevity and just being, I guess, a little healthier in the ways, because I know, was it Brian Shaw? He had some like health issues because he's really big. And same with Eddie Hall. Eddie Hall was just as big as Brian Shaw and Thor, and those guys are like, oh, they're tall as shit. And and Eddie's just a normal sized person, and like the doctor would even told him, he's like, you're gonna die if you keep being that big. But he did it to where he got to where he wanted in strongman. So I admire that. I mean, you do have to push yourself a little bit, but yeah, I just see the changes in all the sports. Honestly, it's everything's changing, which I mean, it's gonna, right? So,
Well, it's about making this good choice. To tell you the truth, like myself, I was at one point, I was almost 500 pounds
oh wow.
because for a long time I was always been a big guy. I've been overweight, but then I was taking care of my mom, and I was taking care of her, but not really taking care of myself like I'm supposed to. And I wasn't like I worked sometime at nights and I ate late at night, and then I eat food. And food was a comfort, especially dealing with her stuff because she was sick for a long time. And then when I saw a picture of myself, it was like the day of my mother's funeral. My sister took a picture. I was sitting, eating at a table. I looked at the picture, and said, "Am I that big?" And then I wasn't seeing a doctor like regular like I was supposed to. And I was on the scale. I was at 478. And that was a lot. I think the highest I remember was when I was coming up, maybe it was like 400. And then I started just making some changes. I'm right now under 400. I'm like about 396. It takes time, a lot of work. And even if you are a bodybuilder, that's like how it affects your body. They tell you the truth that muscle weighs more than fat, and it can affect your heart. Like I said, one example is I do have heart issues because it's genetic. I have a pacemaker, and that's it. But some of them, not all from being overweight, but a good part of it is, but because of genetics and everything like that. But you have to make those choices, especially if you want to live longer, even if you're in a sport like powerlifting. Hey, we got a guest here, my man Curtis L. Jr. Curtis says, congratulations on winning the crown, Miss J. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that.
Oh, thank
So,
you.
yeah. So you only been doing this for a couple of years now. You already said you did like 3 shows. This was the U.S. National, the U.S. Masters was your first show. You won the over 40 class. I interviewed a couple of ladies who also competed that show. And what was that experience like your first time on the stage competing? Coming from a power lifter, and you're just, well, you say, yeah, lock it up, Jamie, lock it up. And now you're on the stage and you're in a posing suit, and everybody's looking at you up and down, saying, who that buff chick with all the muscles?
That's so funny because I always, when I power lifted, I would just like practice posing, right, or flexing, and all the back then all the power lifters talk so much crap about bodybuilders. My one coach even was like that I had then was like, you go to bodybuilding, I'll never forgive you. But now it's totally different. But my first show was in Michigan. It was in Grand Rapids. It was called Westerns Nash, I think. Yeah, Westerns, and there was 4 of us, and I was terrified. I mean, I was so scared. You're really putting yourself out there, right? In powerlifting, it's easy to get like tunnel vision because you're performing a lift. So I used to be just so focused on that. So it was like a different type of pressure. This was like, people are going to look at my physique. Am I good enough? Am I going to pose? Like, am I going to get these turns right? I mean, it's timed. It just seemed very intimidating. It still is. The more shows I do, the more I'm just like so carefree and have more fun about it. But yeah, that first one was pretty scary. I placed third in that one, and then like I said, I did California States in May last year, and I mean, I was the only physique competitor. Period. So like I got that, which was great because it was a national qualifier. So I went to Westerns. I mean, not Westerns, the
Master
Masters.
USA, you say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
USA Masters. And I didn't just compete in physique. I competed in bodybuilding. I actually won my pro card in both bodybuilding and physique. Like, yeah, so like I was really shocked because in bodybuilding, I knew I registered for both because I wanted to get a better chance of winning. So like a lot of people do that in NPC, right? Like if you're like that in between hybrid type of person, you can do that. So I just did that, and I didn't think I'd win both of them. Like it was really shocking. It was crazy. It was emotional. Like I was so excited because that was like a bucket list thing to me, like to be an IFBB Pro. I'm good enough to be with like the best people in the world. It's such a huge compliment, you know. And a lot of people don't get that. Which I feel like they're trying to make it more attainable for people, honestly, now because of the fit model. Because I feel like it's more of like a natural looking, like, you know, like regular little beach body, right? So
Yeah, that's right.
I appreciate the federation doing that because it gets more people in. So that's why I think like maybe some people might cross over to like other divisions, which might help. I hope help. Like the bigger categories like figure and physique and bodybuilding. Because in my heart, I want to be a bodybuilder. Like I love bodybuilding. I love the posing of bodybuilding. It's just comes more natural to me. I have a really bigger upper body. It's just my legs. I've been trying to bring up more. I was gonna do bodybuilding for my first pro show, but I just felt just with the talent that's out there now. Um, I need like another year to grow, and it's not my upper body; it's my lower body. Like that, my quads just need to be way bigger. So that I actually I did sign up for a show. I'm gonna do the Rising Phoenix for my first show. Yeah, yeah. So I'll see
Congrats.
you in yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, because the Rising Phoenix, it was an invitational, but this is where I didn't really. I understand that what Jake's doing now, because Jake is moving on to other stuff. Now it's an open show, and that's great. I mean, I've said this before. It should be an open show opportunities because you think about it. When you go there, you gotta think about it. You don't have to worry about going against some of the top competitors like Andrea or even your buddy Angela. You'll be up against some people within your skill set.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like right before this interview, I was looking because I do this every time I get pick a show. I look who, you know, was in it last year, right? So I was looking at the lineup, and yeah, it makes me so excited. I just love doing this stuff because I love just getting ready for prep and like just working towards it. It gets so exciting to me. It's like I said, I think another reason why like bodybuilding and like the physique and even figure is like kind of dwindling a little bit because it takes a long time to get that definition and that muscle density. I I I know some people think it's really unfair, like cutting the shows or like, like they're dropping shows, but I get it. I mean, I go to some of these shows and there's not a lot of people. So what are you supposed to do when there's not a lot of, competitors in that division? Like they have to do something, but I feel like that I don't know if you mentioned this like I think in one of your podcasts, like the 3-year rule that they have now. You know how like in 3 years you have to do a show. I feel like that's gonna pull a lot of the old retired pros. Maybe they'll come out and like help build the divisions again. Maybe like
Well, here with that one, the correction is that the three rule is that that's the limit of how long before you can register, unless you just got your pro card. Unless you don't, if you're not registered as a pro yet, within a year, then you have to, we qualify by doing a national show. The three rule is that you can still be a pro, but if you don't use it, you can't really compete. All it is just like for those people who still are pros, it'll still be pros, but it just they have that time limit to register again. That's the correction about it, because that's why I heard, and everybody then somebody told me what's the whole thing, because it's been there for a while. But the fact was, it's just that people didn't really pay attention to it. Because one thing is they're trying to clean up. A lot of people get a pro card and then they don't. They use it for like business monikers, but they're not actively a pro because they don't register for as a pro. Because because to be a pro, you have to make sure you turn in your fee, and that's like $275,
mm,
a year. Because I know I've been talking. I got a friend tell me last time he just had to get his, and then you have to do that every year. But you have that limit after that, but you are still considered a pro. But if you don't pay that fee, you can't. I think how it is. If you want to decide, what, I want to compete, then it's not going to bring the old ones back out. it's just gonna they're just gonna still stick to it because they know that, especially the ones that who've been competing for a long time, the grandfathered in, they keep
Mhm.
the pro status. It's just some kind of thing to tell you, okay, if you're not registered yet as a pro, you have to requalify. If you are a pro, you have like a 3 year time before you can ever register again if you ever want to compete.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like it's really. I'm still trying to understand it. It's kind of a mess. Here we got here a man here. It's just, I think it's Duran Hamer. He says, "Love to hear from Masters women. Very inspiring. Thank you. Appreciate that." So anyway, it's tough. So you go to do the Rise of Phoenix
Mhm.
because that is like I said again, it's one of the I think one of the greatest shows because Rise of Phoenix Arizona Pro, it's one of the few women alone shows right now. This in a couple of days, on Saturday we have here coming up the Triple O Dynasty, which is figure and women's bodybuilding. We also have I think a couple weeks after that we have the Vancouver Owl Show, which is women's bodybuilding, physique, and wellness. But you feel like you want to make more time. Wouldn't you want to test your waters in physique before you jump into women's bodybuilding? Because, like I said, it's gonna be some girls who are really monsters there over there.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, back in Michigan too. Andrea Shaw, she's from there. I used to see her she used to train clients at Anytime Fitness, and I would talk to her all the time. And uh, yeah, just being around. I mean, even like physically seeing like the best in the world, like I just know, like, yeah, I got some work to do. It's not me like doubting myself or nothing. I'm like, I just know I need the work to bring myself up. Physique, I mean, there's a lot more physique competitors. I'm like really shocked on that. There's some people that are physique that I'm thinking, yeah, they should just do bodybuilding because they're really impressive looking. Like they're big. And when I think of the lady Sarah that won the Olympia last year, there's such a total they look different, right? Like she looks like a physique person. She's kind of a smaller upper body. She's got nice legs. But then there's some physique people, like I mean, even some could argue I'm like this too, because I have big shoulders, big traps, big arms. Like most physique people don't have that. They're good size. They're like, I don't know if like tone is the right word for it, but um yeah, I
Yeah.
I just feel like physique is just for now. I want to. Eventually I do. I love bodybuilding so much. Like I think it's so cool. Like those women are so cool and I love watching them. And like I said, I love I also like how they have two different suits. I don't think a lot of people know this. Like for bodybuilding, when you're doing your mandatories, you have to wear like a solid color bikini. Like you can't wear like your showy one that you're wearing on your little, finale that you do, right? Like your stage performance. And I kind of liked that. That was, I got to wear like two different suits. Yeah, it's just I don't know. I think it's just because I think of like the old school stuff too. Like my uncle used to be a bodybuilder, not like a pro bodybuilder, but he used to really be into bodybuilding. And we used to watch Arnold and Frank Colombo and like I remember like Tom Platz. I love watching Lee Priest. That guy is so outspoken. I love him so much. Um, and then you see new people like Sam Solik. Like I was so excited for him to win. It's really crazy that all these people, because Chris Bumstead retired, and which I was hoping maybe I could see him at a show, but it is what it is. He did it for a long time, so.
Well, quick bump. So he did a bodybuilding show uh, a month after he did his last Olympia, and it was I think in Prague or somewhere, Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And yeah, it has evolved. Like I remember the ladies used to have plain regular suits, nothing too fancy, maybe something like cotton, a little silk or pleather looking.
Mhm.
But because the look has evolved, because they want y'all ladies with the muscle to have more feminine look, be more appealing. It's about bringing attention. Also, it's about a balance of both as of masculinity and femininity. That what they want. And you mentioned one person I'm a fan of, and that is the beautiful, amazing Miss Andrea Shaw. Oh, I fanboy over her. I don't know why I do this. But this is why, as my other guy says, you give us something you never do for free. And this is a friend of mine. Her name is Eunice. She owns a company called Bad Rap. They're right now they're sponsoring the Triple O, the prize money, and also putting up a jersey for the winners. She was at the Olympia at 2023, and she ran into Andrea. This is the issue of muscle development. It's the last issue they had printed. I still got some old collection of this. I used to collect the Muscle Mag when I was younger, and this is great for her to give me this. But this is not just the magazine. What's special about it is that what really makes me proud when doing this content and talk about your ladies, that the champ, she don't know who I am. She never met me. I've seen her one time competing, was doing a guest posing in Savannah. That was in 2022. And she took time off and she signed this for me.
Aw, she
She
is such
signed,
a person.
yes, I met quite a few ladies who tell me that she's just a genuine person. You
Mm,
know, she really, I would say she really brought new life to women's bodybuilding because it wasn't long ago. The right people started because they were cutting back from the shows. There were few opportunities for women's bodybuilding. They were bringing in women's physique. I was a big fan of women's physique. I call it watered down women's bodybuilding. But me ladies, if you all correct physique builders, I'm really cool with them. But it was brought in this alternative, and now with Jake doing what he's doing, owning Olympia and bringing it back, it's good. But still, the issue is about money and opportunity. And then with the bigger division, especially when bodybuilding, people look at that as they're not a fan of it as much. I'm a fan of it because I love the ladies. I love
mm,
y'all physique. I'm amazed by your bodies. I'm like, ow. And so again, I'm almost a person. Y'all excite me. But doing this content, I really get to learn what it takes to be an athlete in sport. We have here another comment. Shout out to one of my guests here. Shout out to my man KL, the Wanderer, coming through. He says, "How everyone is doing? I'm doing fine, brother." And also, he says, "When you and your husband get married, well, here's do. When they're already married, it's not
yeah.
getting married. They're already married. So we're gonna do this. Okay, what's your husband's name? How long y'all been together?"
My husband's name's Tyler. We've been together actually tomorrow. It's not our wedding anniversary. We've been together actually for 4 years. We've been married for a little over a year. I met him at the gym when I power lifted still. So, yeah, yeah. That's funny. When you get married to your husband.
Yeah.
um, yeah.
he's a good dude. He does content bodybuilding. He's just not all together.